Welcome back to another explainer, everyone. Today we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating. It's a groundbreaking psychological framework developed by Dr. Carol S. Dweck. We're going to dive deep into the hidden mechanics of how our brains process success, how we handle failure, and really what dictates the entire trajectory of our lives. So let's just jump right in. Think about this for a second. How do you react when a puzzle just gets way too hard? To really get to the bottom of this, picture a fascinating psychological experiment that Dr. Dweck put together. She took a group of kids and just gave them some puzzles to solve. At first, easy peasy. But gradually they got incredibly difficult. And naturally, a lot of the kids got frustrated, tired, and totally overwhelmed. But as Dr. Dweck watched their emotional reactions, she noticed something super weird. Right in the middle of all this intense frustration, one kid suddenly rubbed his hands together and actually shouted, "Yes, I love a challenge." Another kid, who was stuck on this virtually impossible puzzle, looked up and bravely said, "I was hoping these would be more informative." Dr. Dweck was literally stunned. Where was the crying? Where was the complaining? It's a crazy contrast, right? On one hand, you've got the baffling enthusiasm of a kid who literally loves the struggle. And on the other hand, well, let's picture a hypothetical guy. We'll call him Hazam. Hazam is a 27-year-old professional victim. He's got 7 solid years of experience complaining and crying about his circumstances. If you tell Hazam to snap out of his whole cycle of surrender, he actually feels physically threatened. He's perfectly comfortable complaining because, honestly, change requires effort, and he totally believes he just doesn't have it in him. He is the ultimate defeatist. So, you gotta ask yourself, why do those little kids thrive on the friction while someone like Hazam just retreats into a victim mentality at the very first sign of it? Section 1, Growth Mindset versus Fixed Mindset. These are the 2 core psychological mindsets that separate those puzzle-loving kids from the Hassams of the world. All right, let's kick things off with the fixed mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, your absolute core belief is that your intelligence, your character traits, and your abilities are completely static. It's like they're locked in a vault. It's a world of to be or not to be, right? You basically believe you're either naturally brilliant and destined to crush it in life, or you're a total failure who's never going to amount to anything. Because of that heavy belief, the fixed mindset creates this constant, completely paralyzing fear of judgment. You become obsessed with what people think of you. You end up hiding your flaws instead of actually fixing them, all because you desperately need to appear effortlessly perfect right out of the gate. Now, on the flip side of that, we have the growth mindset. This is the fundamental belief that your abilities are not carved in stone. They can actually be developed through sheer dedication and hard work. People operating with this mindset actually find real joy in the process. They don't look at mistakes or even absolute disasters as some kind of reflection of their self-worth. Instead, they see those mistakes as essential, highly valuable data for improvement. They aren't constantly trying to prove they're geniuses. They're literally just trying to learn. So let's see how these 2 mindsets actually play out in a super relatable scenario. Let's call this Omar's bad day. Imagine Omar gets a parking ticket first thing in the morning. Then he gets into a tense argument with his boss over some delayed project, and later, when he tries to vent to his buddy, his friend is just completely distracted and zoning out. Now, if Omar has a fixed mindset, he goes home, throws himself on the bed, totally defeated, and thinks, "I'm a massive failure, the universe is out to get me, even my best friend can't stand me right now." He plays the ultimate victim. But if Omar has a growth mindset, he processes those exact same negative events totally differently. He takes a breath and thinks, "Okay, I need to manage my morning time better so I don't rush and park badly. I definitely need to communicate better at work. And my friend, he seemed really out of it today. He must be going through something. I should probably check on him." See the difference there? The growth mindset doesn't punish the self. It actively looks for clear, actionable solutions. Section 2, From Total Paralysis to Trying. Because guys, these mindsets don't just operate during a bad day at the office. They completely dictate how we handle massive, life-altering tragedies. Take the truly incredible journey of the late Christopher Reeve, the legendary actor who played Superman. He had a tragic fall from a horse, broke his neck, severed his spinal cord, and was diagnosed with complete paralysis from the neck down. Naturally, by year 2, the doctors told him to just adapt. They told him there was basically no hope, and he should just find a low-effort hobby. Now, that is the ultimate fixed mindset advice, right? Accept the limits, don't even try. But Reeve completely rejected that. By year 3, he started an intensely demanding, highly experimental physical training program using electrical stimulation. The medical community honestly thought he was just in denial, but miraculously, by year 5, he actually began to regain partial movement. His brain started sending signals down to his body again. It wasn't a total 100% cure, but he pushed the absolute boundaries of medical science simply because he refused that fixed mindset of permanent defeat. Now, I want to be really clear about something here. Having a growth mindset doesn't automatically make you some superhero who's immune to pain. People with a growth mindset still get depressed. They still hurt deeply. The crucial difference, and this is key, is that it changes your entire recovery strategy. A fixed mindset handles depression with really harsh self-judgment, staying in bed, feeling utterly worthless, just paralyzed by it. A growth mindset feels that exact same heavy pain, but responds with self-compassion. They tell themselves, okay, I am human, this is a really terrible time, but it will pass, and I need to actively ask for help. It shifts you entirely from self-punishment over to self-care. Section 3, Mindsets in Work and Relationships. Let's explore how these core beliefs kind of leak into our professional lives and our romantic relationships. So in academics, or in your career, the fixed mindset can actually be incredibly toxic. People with this mindset believe success should just come effortlessly to them because, well, they think they're natural geniuses. If they actually have to study hard or work late, they feel like total frauds. And it gets worse. Their whole model becomes my success relies on your failure. They feel incredibly threatened by anyone who might be doing better than them. If they fail, they're the ones who will cheat, lie, or just blame their coworkers to protect that fragile ego. But for the growth mindset, genuine happiness is found simply in the act of learning. You don't have to be at the absolute untouchable top to feel valuable, as long as you're doing work you actually care about and you're steadily improving. In fact, if you're ever lucky enough to be a manager or a leader of a team, consider the epitaph written on the tombstone of Andrew Carnegie, the massive 19th century industrial titan. It reads, "Here lies a man who was wise enough to bring into his service men who knew more than he." Now that is the absolute ultimate growth mindset leadership flex. A fixed mindset leader is secretly terrified of hiring really smart people because it makes them feel inferior. But a growth mindset leader, they'll happily hire people way smarter than themselves without feeling threatened at all. Why? Because the ultimate goal is collective success, not personal vanity. And we see this exact same stark contrast in romance, especially when things go wrong, like during a breakup. When a relationship fails, the fixed mindset person takes it as this permanent strike against their value as a human being. They feel totally worthless. So what do? They seek revenge, or they try to damage their ex's reputation just to claw back a sense of power. The growth mindset handles that exact same heartbreak completely differently. I mean, they're sad, obviously, but they close the door peacefully, they use that pain to actually learn what they need in a future partner, they wish their ex well, and they move on without that really toxic need to destroy somebody else. It totally applies to friendships, too. Seriously, I want you to ask yourself right now, do your friends actually celebrate your success, or do they just console your failures? We all know that old saying, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And yeah, sure, a good friend supports you when you're down, but here is the real test. Do they actively cheer for you when you outshine them? A fixed mindset friend actually kind of loves it when you fail, because your misery secretly makes them feel superior. But a true growth-minded friend, their self-esteem isn't threatened by your success in the slightest. They're going to be the loudest one in the room clapping for you. So take a minute to evaluate your circle. And honestly, more importantly, evaluate what kind of friend you are to the people around you. Section 4, Prioritize and Start Change. So how do we actually shed these old childhood thought patterns and start doing the work? Well, changing your mindset requires some really deep, deliberate effort. You basically have to end the entitlement mentality right here and now. Nobody owes you effortless success. You have to choose your struggle, because every single choice has a price tag attached to it. Do you want the ultimate freedom of travel, or do you want the warmth of deep-rooted long-term relationships? Do you want to hustle endlessly for maximum profit, or do you want fewer clients so you actually have some free time on the weekends? A growth mindset fully accepts that you literally cannot have it all effortlessly. You have to identify the price of your goals, and then you have to willingly agree to pay it. I want to leave you all with one final kind of provocative thought today. You understand the framework now, but honestly, knowledge without action is really just trivia. So what is your growth mindset story going to be? Take a hard look at your life right now. What profound failure, what deep frustration, or what incredibly difficult situation are you currently facing that you can choose to transform into a pivotal learning moment today? The choice, as always, is entirely yours.